Welcome back. You're watching Daybreak on Arise News. Of course, it's time to take a look at what's making the headlines in the papers this morning. We're joined by Kola Alapinni, an international human rights lawyer, who is joining me from the U.S. state of California. Thank you, Kola. It's good to see you. And good morning from this side of the world. But let's get straight to take a look at the papers this morning. Let's begin with this day of record. If you can pull that up right away, as we take a look at what this day has to say. And he put it this way: Tinubu to Nigerians, re-elect me for more work. Reforms in first 2 years. Another story there: Labour Party, NDC, ADC, PDP factions hold a primaries. You could take a look at another story now. Soaring food energy cost push inflation to 15.69%. We're back again to this day, but let me take a similar story from other newspaper. Let's look at the Guardian now has this similar story, of course. Tinubu asking Nigerians to re-elect him, but the Guardian has this to say: Tinubu in Kigali, reforms already stabilizing Nigeria's economy. And President Tinubu's comment in Kigali, of course, according to analysts, are aimed at the international investment audience, perhaps not necessarily to Nigerians. It's the first time we're seeing a Nigerian president in this manner. But let me quickly look at some other story quickly there on the front page of The Guardian. If you can pull that up, of course, we have that right away. And it has this to say: The Guardian has this to say that reforms already stabilizing Nigeria's economy. And he described these, describe subsidy removal, tax reforms as necessary sacrifice. Nigeria must support local industries, deepen regional compensation. And that's President Tinubu speaking in Rwanda, Kigali, at the Africa CEO Forum. Let's bring in Kola Alapinni now as we take a look at some of these interesting stories. Thank you for joining us, Kola. Are you there? Now, let me begin from, of course, this day newspaper, where it talks about there's a need to re-elect him, that Nigerians should trust him for re-election. And the first 2 years, of course, while he was speaking in Kigali, he also highlights the importance of the impact of his reforms on Nigeria. But again, there's one story or one angle I also like to talk about. Well, we saw the president. I don't know if you watched that interview. He was so coordinated, so coherent, and so on point. If you look at the conversation between the presenter and of course him there, you will discover that the president, for the first time, was able to answer all the questions put to him. And the question is, why is the president not talking to Nigerians using the local media? That's another big question. But let's begin now from the first, a headline where it talks about he needs a re-election, that Nigerians should trust him. The first 2 years was already, just for reform's sake, and perhaps in the second term he'll be able to consolidate on those reforms. Where do you start?
Well, if we take it from him not speaking to the press in Nigeria, or not appearing as friendly or as relaxed to the press in Nigeria, I think it's a typical Nigerian style where our leaders, kind of snob. Once they get into power, they kind of just snob the local scene, and they become inaccessible, etc. And they try to put their best foot ahead when they're at international fora. I don't see any big deal in the interview which he has done in Kigali. We need more of these at home, especially so he's able to uh, get across his views properly to the Nigerian people. Now he's asking that he be given more years he should be re-elected, etc. That's entirely up to the people of Nigeria. If we have free and fair elections, let the best man win. He will test his popularity at the polls. That's uh, that's all I'll say. He doesn't need to beg Nigerians. Let his work speak for him.
Let his work speak for him. But again, when you look at, I mean, what he's done in the past 2 years, and some people say it's foundational. I mean, look at the reforms, subsidy removal. While speaking at the Africa CEO Forum, he was able to expressly touch on those, in the impact of those reforms, how again he's going to consolidate again. And like you said, let Nigerians decide who to vote for. But again, let's speak to the fact that he was able to express and be able to articulate his plans and what he's going to be doing. Did you see the different spirit in which the president spoke? Yeah, how convincingly he spoke at Kigali.
I don't know about how convincing it was, but there must be something in the water in Kigali that
Mm,
makes him more friendly to the international press, especially to Ms. Zenawi of the BBC. Perhaps if he had been speaking to your colleagues domestically
mm,
and communicating adequately, I think the last person that really used to the presidential media chat properly was Chief Olusegun Obasanjo when he was president. And it seemed as if subsequent presidents just kind of shied away from their from such programs to articulate their views. I know Goodluck Jonathan did a few of it. Umar Yar'Adua was largely sick, so he couldn't even get his views across. Um, so, I mean, I hope it's not too late for him to be able to get these views across. But he
mm,
seems to have a penchant for, for wanting to do it abroad. So, as I said, if we
well,
have uh, if we have free and fair elections, let the people decide. You don't have to beg the people. It's to the contrary, it's the people that would beg you to continue to stay if you've done well. That's my own view. I might be wrong, but that's it.
well, we hope to see in the coming days whether he'll be able to, replicate that, spirit at home here by talking to the local media. But let's move away quickly. Very interesting story on the front page of Telegraph. Of course, he's still talking about the interview of Bola Tinubu, but that's not what I want us to pick now. The Telegraph also has that story. Baba Ahmed interview where part of move to send Tinubu's government packing says Nigerian democracy is worst since. If you take a look at that, of course, you will see there that people are saying, look, we're sending him packing. But the interesting part I want us to talk about is the primary. Primary holds amid intrigues, confusion over committees list. Whoever controls the community or the committee rather controls the process. That's a source there talking about the fact that whoever controls the committee controls how the outcome will turn out. And we talk about, of course, in the last 48 hours, there have been a lot of agitations around imposition in the APC. Speak to these particularly. I mean, there have been even between the governors and the aspirants across the state, there have been agitations and back and forth about the imposition. Is APC setting itself up for implosion with this imposition conversation?
If we look at the, if we allow the facts to speak for them, then it appears as if all is not well with the ruling party. I'll take Kwara State, for instance, where, we have about 16 contestants that are going for just one position. The governor wants to go to the National Assembly and be a senator, and one of the senators there representing Kwara State, wants to become governor. And instead of them to, work things out and have a direct swap, it's been a cat and mouse game where you have a situation where like 16 people are vying for one position, and you have the provisions in the Electoral Act which says it has to be either consensus or direct primaries. Either way, the party is going to be fractured because how do you have a consensus uh, and pick just one person out of 16? There are just too many in the field. Once you pick one and the other people are disgruntled, you are going to have what happened in River State. So you are going to have a wicked problem again in your hands, where he wasn't picked to be vice presidential candidate, and he essentially destroyed the party and fragmenting. And then you see it all. It's only about Lagos State, only in Lagos State that you've been able to have a proper consensus candidate that it seemed to see everybody had rallied around. Everywhere has been confusion, one after the other.
Let me also go through some other stories then, of course, we move on. This particular one says, well, inflation climbed to 15.69% in April. That's according to NBS. Well, let's also move away from that quickly and take a look at we can trust import other papers now. Uh, we can trust has this to say APC opt for direct primaries as consensus flops. High cost of test consultations shut out patients from hospital. Well, of course, we'll talk much about these direct primaries and in positions in the APC. But let's move away quickly as we'll take a look at very interesting story that borders on issues around the cost of health or in Nigeria, high cost of tests, consultations, shut out patients from hospital. And Kola, last week we talked about the fact that we need to fund our health sector. I mean, if you look at the budget that have been earmarked for health sector, is minimal. We talk about there has to be a minimum standard across the globe for health and education, and these are important sectors. But we keep having this type of story back over and over again in Nigeria. How do you react to this?
And these are the points where the leaders would be held accountable at the polls if we have free and fair elections. How can we be running two concurrent budgets and then we only find out at the committee hearing in the National Assembly where there was shifting of blame between the Minister of Finance and the Minister of State. Um, it was just shambles. How do you say that you have a health ministry and the health ministry does not receive the money, and you wonder what the ministry itself is running on? Is it running on air or something? And even when these monies are given to the ministries, it doesn't trickle down. People don't see it. You will see. Let me use the states for an example. We say we have more revenue now. They've reformed the tax process. States are getting double, triple, but there's nothing to show for it. What has changed? So we're just hearing huge figures fly in the air, and it doesn't trickle down to the people. And if we have free and fair elections, these are the core issues that we should be discussing and debating. Where would hold people to account? Regarding the other story where you quickly mentioned that APC was going to settle on direct primaries, it might be in their interest to do so. Because if they don't settle on direct primaries and they're trying to shove consensus candidates down the other people's throat, the party is going to implode. People who feel disgruntled will work against whoever has been chosen. That's what I think.
Okay. I'll take you to the Vanguard, the front page of the Vanguard now. I think it has similar story, but one important headline there is where we're going to focus. But let me, by the way, read out the headlines there. APC ticket governors aspirants at war over alleged imposition. State executives insist on consensus. Aspirant demand direct primaries. But again, look at these 2027 presidency. The NDC's one term zoning to South sparks praise knock. Arrangement a master stroke coming from Makori. Atiku's entry may threaten Obi's chances that's coming from Oshun Tokun. Well, why the APC, of course, are trying to settle their scores of whether there should be direct primaries or imposition. Of course, the NDC is getting some accolade for settling for, zoning to south, or in the south rather generally, zoning their presidency to south generally. And again, the question is the fact that there are heavyweights that have been projected to maybe defect soon to NDC where Peter Obi is. And that is what people are saying, that it may threaten his chances in 2027. Another side is the fact that some are saying, well, I can't step down for my colleague. Atiku is saying, look, I can't step down. Amechi is saying, I can't step down. So speak to us about this. How do you see this play out for the NDC or whoever the NDC may front in 2027?
Well, I can tell you for free that Rotimi Amici has no business. He's been speaker.
Hello, Kola, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I hope.
Okay. Yeah, please go on. There seems to be a kind of distortion in your audio, but yes, please go ahead.
Static, yeah. So I think Rotimi Amici.
Welcome to Licky Licky.
Well, of course, we're back now. We have callers are still on the line. Yes, of course, we're talking about the chances of NDC ahead of the 2027 and see how that those opposition, perhaps opposition, may come between, in between the parties. Speak to us about that.
Yes, I was saying Rotimi Amici has no business running for the presidency. He's definitely not going to get the numbers. This is just a waste of 90 million naira. Except he is angling to become vice president. If Atiku wins, it will just. I don't see how Atiku is going to be chosen, except he wants to be a spoiler, because we all know that the South has 8 years to complete its presidency. It's an unspoken rule, it's a gentleman's agreement, it's a convention. I don't see Ayatollah winning whoever fields him is going to lose because nobody knows him. I don't see how an Ayatollah can say he wants to run in his own right. He doesn't have the numbers. How is he going to penetrate the southwest? How is he going to penetrate the southeast? So the permutations of the ADC is wobbly. The NDC is probably the surest bet. They have an ally in the convener of the party, Seriake Dixon. And I think Seriake himself would love a party that is relevant. And the only way the party can be relevant is if it's an Obi Kwankwaso ticket. So that leaves Obi Kwankwaso ticket and the incumbent president Tinubu and APC as the parties to watch out for. Every other one is just a fringe party. Is SDP going to be able to muster even up to 500,000 votes? I mean, let's be factual here. And
Okay.
the there's some people who should even bother running or saying they want to pick up the ticket, except they just want to be noticed and settle for, number two position or ministers. We saw it happen in the last primaries as well. That
Right.
was that's it where a lady came out to say she wanted to run, and then at the last minute she stepped down and she was rewarded with the Minister of Women Affairs. Maybe we're going to see a repeat of such things now. It's just horse trading, so to speak. Yeah, Amity could not even win Rivers State and install his crony there. How does he want to win the whole of Nigeria? I mean, let's be serious here.
Interesting. Let's quickly run now and take a look at international headlines, Kola. Let's start with daily graphics. Ghana here. Nation ends IMF program. Opt for new 36-month technical assistance to deepen progress. Well, the story says Ghana has successfully ended the financial bailout program with the International Monetary Fund, and it has subsequently transitioned to a non-financing technical assistance of the fund to, protect the gains and unlock other benefits. Well, that's a daily graphic from Ghana. But let me quickly take a look at the other story now. Before I let you go, let's take a look at Daily Express. Kola Farage. We will give him a very nasty shock. And this is saying that Nigel Farage vowed to give Labour leader leadership contender Andy Burnham a very nasty shock by ending his hopes of returning to Parliament. Comment on these two stories before I go. I mean, Keir Starmer is not having it good either as well. And so some other leaderships or the party leadership is also having it rough as well. Comment on these stories before I let you go, Kola.
I think K-Star wants to avoid it. He knows he's going to go deep inside him. He knows he has to go. Maybe what he's just trying to do is just buy time so that they don't have an implosion, or they don't have a flurry or succession of prime ministers like we saw the Conservative Party had a few years ago, where they even had a prime minister for about 46 days or thereabouts. So he's trying to hang on and say, okay, it would set a fashion or the orderly disappearance, so to speak. Well, the unknown is what we don't know. You can see that Reform did very well in the councillorship elections. Andy Burnham is a core Labour person from the northwest, from Manchester. He's very popular. He's the current mayor of Greater Manchester. Is now going to see if he's going to be able to convert that. He used to be in Parliament anyway. He used to be an MP and was a secretary before. He now has to see if he can still reignite that touch with the grassroots for him to be able to come back. He's gotten the first nod, the nod from the Labour Council, the Labour executives, the Labour leaders,
Right.
who they've allowed him now to run. So it will be a test of popularity. If he wins,
Right.
then it will stand a good chance.
Okay. Comment on Ghana's
If it
30
wins
seconds
the
before I let
election.
you go on Ghana's ending their IMF program.
Well, we have to congratulate Ghana because it means that the IMF and the World Bank, the relationship with Africa has always been a challenging one. And
Right.
at some point in time, even during the Buhari administration, the World Bank director, they had come back here and said, okay, Nigeria actually defies understanding or everything that they had
Right.
they had thought was going to work with Nigeria. It didn't work. Of course, we had Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, who was there, who was able to help us structure it. So I would say congratulations to Ghana if they're able
Indeed.
to cut off this going with bull in hand and seeking aid
Yes.
from IMF.
Okay.
They at the end of the day, these are lenders, and it's not for free. And that is, if we relate that to what's
Okay.
happening in Nigeria, where people were bombarding the World Bank websites and saying, "Don't loan us any money again. You are going to saddle us with debt in the future." I think we should direct that towards our lawmakers and make sure that our lawmakers scrutinize. We're not a rubber stamp assembly. We just don't keep approving all these
Well,
laws.
I think a good place to live in Nigeria should take a cue from Ghana, the next door neighbor. Well, Kola, I just want to thank you for making it our time on Daybreak this morning. Thank you for your time. Kola Alapinni is an international human rights lawyer. and of course, joining us from California.